911 is a not-so-secret weapon. Since villains can look like Freddy Krueger or a beautiful movie star, if you're approached by a stranger, don't roll down your window, even a little. Cell phone in plain sight. Chances are the bad guys will guess you've called the good guys to the rescue. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour.
You know, you just get near the ocean and you either have that salt water in your blood or you don't. Once you've experienced a ride in an offshore powerboat, big blocks turn on. The sound of the power and then the speed. For the rest of your life, you will never ever forget it. I'm Mark Granite, driver, world champion Miss Geico offshore race boat. As fast as you want out there. So every weekend, you know, we all met racing and running our boats. I never thought for a moment it would be what my profession was. You gotta learn how to win. Put together the right team and the people around you. Take each step to become a champion. This crew works from 8 in the morning till 10 at night. 6, 7 days a week. Dedication to a common goal. To win. That's it, to win. Offshore powerboat racing is unique. There's a throttle man and a driver, traveling at close to a football field a second. We have to become one. Then you got your race boat. What propellers you run, what gear ratio you run. How are the engines? Systems working? Have you got enough test time? What happened in your last race? The crew, they are some really, really bright guys. And even then, things can go horribly wrong. Look, offshore racing is the most deadly motorsport there is, period. You know, we've lost a lot of friends. And those are tremendously difficult moments. Races isn't about the unknown. It's about being faster than the other guy. When the referees call the race area, it gets very, very intense. You become hyper-focused, hyper-tuned into all the things that are happening. Every beat of the engine, the way the water's slapping the hull, the smells coming through the cockpit, the heat, pure power these boats take on. And then it goes to quiet. That freedom, that openness, that power is unbelievably intoxicating. I mean, there's no question that when Scotty and I are given the tool, the weapon, to do what we need to on the race course, we're unbeatable. You just get near the ocean and you either have that salt water in your blood or you don't. Once you've experienced a ride in an offshore powerboat, big blocks turn on, the sound of the power and then the speed. For the rest of your life, you will never ever forget it. Mark Granite, driver, world champion Miss Geico offshore race boat.
Morning, White. Let's get started with today's broadcast, global cast. I want to welcome everyone who is tuned in on the local radio, whether it's AM and or FM station, and also at watchbobbylive.com. I'll wave at the camera. Really had an interesting week this week and have information that I think you'll be most interested in. Some that is as recent as just last evening when I learned an article from the Detroit News. We'll hear a little more about that as well. After we come back from the break, we'll hear from Jim and hear some of the latest breaking news that is all automotive related, but you know, automobiles are a huge part of our lives. I want to welcome you to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Encourage you to call at 888-CAR Clinic, 888-227-2546. Kim will take your call, put you in the queue, and I will answer your questions on air. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by O'Reilly Auto Parts. When it's time to replace your battery, trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. They'll help you choose the Super Start battery that's an exact fit for your vehicle. Whether it's a reliable economy, hardworking premium, or the powerful Extreme, O'Reilly Auto Parts has a Superstart battery you need at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. We're going to come back, take a call from Jim, take your calls, and also I'll share with you some information that's really interesting about wherever quality brake hardware kits. Stay tuned. Coming up is a roll.
O'Reilly If your AC isn't cold, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. AC Pro R134A refrigerant with a gauge and hose is on sale now for $39.99. Cool your AC system in 3 easy steps with a 20-ounce can of AC Pro R134A refrigerant at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
What's grinding you? Your brakes? Don't succumb to that daily grind. Stop it with Carlson. Whether you're a DIYer or a brake professional, choose Carlson quality brake hardware kits for the highest quality materials and processes. Carlson controls the design, engineering, and manufacturing of all their brake hardware, ensuring proper fit and performance. Why risk your brake job with inferior brake hardware that may not fit or perform properly? Eliminate the risk by asking for Carlson quality brake hardware kits for every brake job. Okay, folks, let's take a question from the Car Clinic inbox from John in Tennessee.
Bobby, I drive a hybrid, and I'm conscientious about servicing and maintenance to keep it in top shape. My friend talks about K&N products and says I should try them. He's a hot rod kind of guy, but I'm more of a green type person. That's why I drive a hybrid. What K&N products would make sense for me?
John, for the performance and the green guy in you, K&N air filters have you covered. Most K&N air filters are washable, lifetime air filters, so K&N filters can stay out of the landfills. And unlike paper air filters, which are made from tin, air filters are made from cotton, a quickly renewing resource. And being green doesn't sacrifice performance. K&N air filters are engineered to deliver high airflow for quicker acceleration up hills and on freeway entries, and for a maximized driving experience. For the K&N air filter just right for your hybrid, drive to knfilters.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another great place to use Visa.
They giggle and jiggle, they jump and they sing, they poke and they play with most wondrous things. And that's just the parents. At Creative Kid Stuff in Minneapolis, you'll find the most enchanting toys and games for kids of all. But if you want to bring home their innovative playthings, you better bring your Visa card. Because at Creative Kid Stuff, you can let your child's imagination run wild, but you can't use American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
You start my morning, you stir my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning. Your name is Folgers Mountain Grow. Now you're here. Aroma helps me wake, and the day is mine to take. The best part of waking up is Folgers in.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with today's edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I want to share with you, first, before I do, I mentioned earlier on that we'd worked on the studio this week, and we have. And the connection between the center of the automotive universe, which is Bobby Likis Car Clinic, which is our in-house studio that folks, is actually located within a 15,000 square foot automotive service facility on the Gulf Coast of Florida. And we transfer our signal, that's your voice, my voice, and all of our commercial breaks, to the satellite. And that satellite is Westwood One. And Westwood One, of course, is located in New York City. And there's a gentleman there that I'm sure is listening right now. His name's Angel. And this individual has tirelessly helped us with any complications that we have. And I will tell you, if you think that your car is sophisticated, a simple transfer of data and voice from the center of the automotive universe to New York and then back down to your local radio station, or at least North America, is no trivial pursuit. And so I want to personally thank Angel for all of his time that he gave us. And you know, when you go to a service shop, that's really what you're buying. You're buying that time. And you can be a good customer, or you can be a demanding customer, but the bottom line is, if you want the best results for your time, then you should appreciate the time that others give you. Appreciate the time that Angel and Kevin, you know this because you were on the phone this morning earlier on with Angel. I presume that all is well in the house today.
Everything looks great, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So, folks, I invite you to call. If you have a story about your local service provider that you think that that person or that business would benefit from and you'd like to share with our audience, please feel free to do so. Kim will take your call at 888 Car Clinic. I'll make it easier for you. It's 888-227-2546. I have gas prices for you. I have a little trivia that I may send out there. I'm just itching to give away a Bobby Likis Car Clinic prize pack. But first, let's go to Jim, our official Car Clinic reporter. Michigan, Jim, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us this early on.
Well, it's always a pleasure to be on your program. By the way, did you become the best in the Bay?
Well, we don't know yet. Thank you so much for asking. The 26th of this month is when those scores will be revealed, and that's huge. It's huge because it's Gannett, of course, and that's in the Pensacola News-Journal. We won Best of the Bay 4 years. Last year we stepped up our game, and we won Best Reputation. I say we, my team on the service side of the house won Best Reputation in Automotive Service, and I have a lot of pride there, and we take pride. So this year, we're really trying to step up our game. If we win this year, this will be like our 6th win. This contest includes dealerships, franchised dealerships, new local independent stores, chain stores, such as the Firestone and the Goodyears of the world, and just all of the service industry. And really it boils down to, how many customers are willing to give, and gosh, thanks for asking, their time. And it really didn't take much time to go online and vote, but there again, it doesn't take much time to do anything, but you have to stop and time. So for all of those of you who voted for Car Clinic, and my team at Bobby Likis Automotive, thank you from the bottom of my heart, whether we win or not. And, I take that back. We want to win. It's really not whether, Jim, we win or not. Make no mistake about it, we want to win. But let's move on. What news have you for us this morning?
Okay, Bobby, I have 2 reports. We can start off with the new concept of a car that's going to be alcohol controlled. So if your begins with their teenage license, you can set it for 0 tolerance, and they can't even ignite the engine when they turn on the key. I think that's good.
Well, so let's see, the legal age for all states is 0.08. The blood alcohol level is 0.08. And then for underage, it's, of course, there's 0 tolerance. So you're telling me, and I am familiar with this particular article, thanks to the Detroit News. And what's your opinion? What do you feel about that? What do you think?
I think it's great. It's going to prevent parents from worrying about what their child could do, what their insurance company could do if there's a lawsuit from somebody else if they're driving under the influence. And you can set it for 0 tolerance. It's standard across the whole USA, but you can reset it. Sure, your child can't go and get you and them in trouble.
But Jim, I'm on board with that. What do you think about having dinner and wine and a nice wine event, which is a part of my life? I really enjoy just the camaraderie and the social drinking on a wine level. So, I know that it's supposed to be set for 0.08, but what if I get locked out of my own automobile? I mean, how does that work? Or of course, this is not on the market yet, but what do you feel about that part?
Well, getting you locked out of your own automobile, that's not going to be happy, and that's not going to work well, because if you could set it and turn it off and have that option as the adult driver, responsible driver, I think then it would work swell. Well,
it's going to be interesting that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has been working on this since 2008. And I know that they're working with the big 3 as well. Did you have, or folks, has anyone out there heard of this latest report? And of course, Jim, you get the news there from the Detroit News, and I also subscribe to the Detroit News. and I get a lot of the same information depending on what your choices are for the media release. But folks, this is also information that's available to you if you subscribe to the Detroit News e-newsletter. And to that end, Jim, did you have an opportunity to actually watch that video that was within that article?
Yes, I did, and I thought it was well done. It doesn't look like it's that hard of a setup for you to set it for zero tolerance or whatever tolerance you want to set it to. I thought it was really well done.
Well, it was. It's an animated, of course, animated because it's a concept at this date, but it was most interesting. I did see, and I put it on the screen and came in and looked at it, and I did see a couple of word errors on the video itself, but we won't go there. We may go there a little later on. I may do a trivia on that. What else have you to share with us?
Okay, I want to share the idea in that other article we talked about the fact that the car sales will not stay at where the 16 million cars that are sold each year. Automobile sales in the next 20 or 10 years will drop down because of the automotive cars. I don't think for the economy, people want their own cars to take them when they want, and they don't want to be renting a car or renting a cab service that's automated.
Oh, so you're talking about the idea where the automobile, if you want to go from point A to point B, rather than buy a car, you just can rent a car. If you want to, like sometimes I will do on a vacation, rather than take my car, I don't want to put the miles on my car, so I'll rent a car. But you're saying that people are going to do that universally, even in town, where you can rent a car from point A to point B and just leave it and rent another one back. And
that's going to be a hassle going back to work, which people don't want, and I don't think need, and you don't want to drop the sales of cars.
Well, if you drop the sales of cars, I mean, think about in 2009 when we were down to 10 million cars a year. Now we're at 16. I mean, the sales of automobiles is more than just the sale of cars. It has to do with the financing. It has to do with everything from filling a need and a want and a wish with consumers to the actual financial part of selling the paper. And of course, a lot of automobile manufacturers, I mean, you know, you have Ford Motor Credit, so with Chrysler. So with that said, I don't think that a new technology that would ultimately reduce automobile new car sales from whether they're currently 16 million or whether they're 15, somewhere north of 14, I think is where it really has to be. I don't see that as being developable, because if that happens, our economy, what happens to our economy?
6 people are involved indirectly, even in the automotive industry, and they too will suffer.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think the automobile. I don't think I know it. And Henry Ford really started something when he created the mass production of automobiles. Hey, man, I want to thank you for always for reaching out and for sharing with all of our Car Clinic listeners. Thank you so much, Jim.
It's always my pleasure, Bobby. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. And, folks, with that, I'll invite your calls at 888-227-2546. That's 888 Car Clinic. Kim will take your call, put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by the original performance air filter of NASCAR. Superior airflow, superior performance. Drive to knfilters.com for more, and I'll be back.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that for independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
How can you improve battery performance? PowerFrame Grid Technology, a more advanced kind of positive grid technology designed to combat the common causes of premature battery failure. PowerFrame Grid technology is formed from a single sheet of precisely rolled and stamped metal. This patented manufacturing process makes the battery more resistant to corrosion. Look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit PowerFrame.com. retailer near you. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians. Facts about ethanol. Extreme, way out there sport. But the grueling testing of E15 by the U.S. Department of Energy is in a league all its own. E15, or 15% ethanol blended fuel, has undergone the most robust and rigorous fuel testing done to date. For example, in a Department of Energy study, a subset of 86 vehicles driven more than 6 million miles, that's the equivalent of 12 round trips to the moon, on test tracks and dynamometers were torn down and inspected. Result? No discernible difference in engine wear between test fuels in vehicles made in model years 2001 and later, as approved by the EPA. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org. That's ethanolrfa.org.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Oh, Steve, it's so romantic camping at night.
Yeah. Hey, you want a mint?
I didn't know Trident makes mints. What was that?
Just a rabbit or a squirrel.
No, it's a bear!
I see it. I see it.
Do something, it's getting closer.
Wow!
Aw, look, he likes our breath.
Trident introduces new Trident Advantage Mints, the great-tasting sugarless mint that strengthens teeth and helps reduce the risk of tooth decay.
Can you get the bear to stop licking my mouth?
New Trident Advantage Mints, the good for your teeth mint.
Good day, ladies.
Hi.
I'm Willie Works, here to talk to you about how to get rid of those tough, embedded odors in the laundry.
You know what I've been doing?
What?
I've been soaking some of my husband's T-shirts in a baking soda solution.
Oh.
Now that seems to help.
Sometimes I boil them in vinegar.
Oh.
Yeah, that can help.
Oh, ladies, there's an easier way. Febreze for the wash. Just add a capful with your detergent and odors disappear.
Really? One wash is all it takes?
Yup, Febreze for the wash. One cap, one wash.
And say goodbye to...
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Gas prices I want to share with you, and I also will share with you that Kim will take your call at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546, and put you in a queue, and I will put you on the air. I am going to do what I think will be a lot of fun right now, and it's a trivia question. It's a question for you, and as Jim just mentioned regarding the prototype car that to bar drunken driving. And folks, just if you missed that part of the conversation, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration unveiled ever prototype vehicle with an advanced alcohol detection technology that could ultimately prevent vehicles from being operated by a drunken driver. And there's a video. And I'll share this with you, and I will give the first person that calls in with the correct answer of what is wrong with that video. And you can find that video just by Googling NHTS, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, and just put in, I guess, Kevin, prototype drunken. Will that work? Prototype NHTSA?
I think it will, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And it's really interesting. And what you'll do, and I think it would be interesting for you as well, to Google that video, and you'll see the article news, and then there's a video there that is an animated video. There's a error in that video, and I would like for you to tell me what that error is. I think it's ironic. It shows a little bit of a Freudian slip, I think, and whoever put that together. And so, anyway, that's what I'll share with you. And if you want to call and let me know, I'll send you a prize pack. And the number to call is 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. Again, just Google HTSA prototype drunken driving or car, and you should be able to go right article, and then you'll see in that article the video, and it is within that little short video, and I think that video is, I'm going to say 60 seconds long, no longer than that, but you'll see what I'm talking about much earlier than the 60 seconds within the video, and the first person that gives me the right answer, I will send you a prize pack the first of the week. Gas prices, these are U.S. regular gasoline dollars per gallon. So from this same time last year to date, universally, from East Coast to West and Midwest and the Gulf Coast, Rocky Mountain, et al., the gas prices are lower than same time last year. Having said that, with the exception of the Gulf Coast and the West Coast, every other area of the country, every region of the country, and there are 10 regions, literally have an increase in gas prices. The average gas price of fuel, this is unleaded, is $2.78, and that's as of June 1st, and that's according to the history and the reports from the government report. So there again, $2.78, and let's see what the lowest price is. Well, the highest price was on the West Coast, and that's $3.44. So it's headed up to that. Isn't that something, we've heard of $2 gas, and now it's $3.44, and then now it's actually $2.78. So it seems to fall a nickel and gain a dime, and fall 7 cents and gain 13 cents. But the bottom line, that's what you'll pay for a gallon of gasoline. So if you can save a gallon of gasoline, per tankful, that's a lot of money. I think there's a lot of economic factors that come into play with regard to what drives, no pun intended, the price of gasoline. I want to mention to you that this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by Wherever Quality Brake Hardware Kits. And I've got an interesting email this week from a gentleman who actually called about another problem with his vehicle and left me, well, it wasn't an email, it was a voicemail on my direct line to my office. And he said, I listened to you and I followed your advice, and he did his own brake work, but he replaced the brake hardware. And he said, you were right. He said, the brakes job that I did was absolutely right on, spot on, and the brakes worked as brand new. And we do that in our service shop. So when you replace your brake hardware, I would suggest that you use Wherever Quality Brake Hardware on every brake job. It's a certified fit and performance, and if you don't do your own brake work, which I would recommend you not doing, I would recommend you seek a professional shop. Just insist on Wherever Quality Brake Hardware kits, and they're available at any local Advanced Auto Parts store. I got to tell you, it makes a difference. And what is so ironic about doing repair work is that it's the small things that count. Of course, you could say that for any operation, whether it's an operation on your body, or whether or not did you stop for that yellow light, that red light, or did you just run under that? I mean, there's split-second timing, and that makes a huge difference in the safety and how your vehicle drives. And those hardware, the brake parts that I share with you and that we use in our service shop, that determines how the brake pads not only apply, but how they retract when you let off the brake. And just for you to know, there are no springs, there's no real device per se that brake pads away from the rotor. They literally ride on the rotor all the time. When you're moving, the pads are touching the rotor full time. And so if you, and this really was one of the revelations when disc brakes were first universally installed on mass production automobiles, and we all were told, don't ride your brakes. Well, you shouldn't do that anyway. But the bottom line, the brake hardware allows the brakes to smoothly be applied, and then it helps to retract that brake pad away. That determines the ease of movement of, the pads determine the application, and of course, when you let off the brake, there's no pressure. So just because there's no pressure, that means that there's no real force pushing the pad against the rotor, but also little reason for the pad to move away from the rotor. And that's where the brake hardware comes in, because the brake hardware gives that pad the freedom to relax. That's probably the best. I'm trying to create the word here on the broadcast. So for your brakes to relax means that there's no, and I don't know if you've ever put a car on a rack and tried to turn a wheel, but you should be able to turn a wheel. Now, no wheel will just truly spin freely because there's a little bit of drag on all brakes. There's some. Now, you can take a tool or a screwdriver and push the pad back, and we're only talking the thickness of a couple of pieces of newspaper, 4/1000. You push a pad back 4/1000, or the thickness of a hair of an inch, and you push a pad back, and that's clear. I guess the same thing as if you're almost in an accident and you miss the car by 2/1000 or 2 miles. But I can tell you, I'd rather go with the 2 mile miss than I had the 2,000. And Kevin's shaking his head in there. Yeah, I can appreciate that. And speaking of car repair, I often tell you about what's happening in our service shop. And as you heard Jim, when he called in this morning, ask, well, did you win? We don't know if we won yet. Best automotive service shop and best oil change on the bay. We hope so. Our team deserves it. But I often tell you what's going on. We've got a new way to show and to share with you automotive service. And you go to Pinterest. It's a Pinterest board. And you go to pinterest.com/Bobby Likis and check out In the Shop with Bobby Likis. And this week, our patient was, and get this, folks, a 1998 Toyota Camry with 343,731 miles. And then our physician that handled this case was Guy Rayner. And here was the symptom. The vehicle shut off while driving with a weird noise on attempts to restart. So you're driving down the road, and rarely do cars just roll over and die on the side of the highway. That just doesn't happen. Usually there's steam coming out of from under the hood, or a water pump, or a hose failure, or something of that nature. Sometimes there's drivability problems because they have injectors and all those sorts of what we call drivability issues in the service. But this vehicle just shut up with a weird noise. And the diagnosis, the timing belt was broken in two, literally. That doesn't happen often, but the bottom line, you can see a picture of this on our In the Shop with Bobby Likis. Go to pinterest.com/Bobby Likis. And when you replace the timing belt on your car, you have to replace the components in the. You should replace all the components. And to find out what's in the kit and to learn more about Reality Auto Service, and these are real pictures of real cars with a real technician, you just simply go to pinterest.com/Bobby Likis and look for the In the Shop board, and you will see a most interesting, for me, it was really interesting because we talk about, and you call about car questions, and I try to help you to better understand the nature of the beast of your automobile. But I got to tell you, it's really difficult unless you are a technician or you're technically inclined. So how do you do that? What other methods can you use? Smell, eyesight, hear. You listen for noises. And you don't have to be a technician to know whether or not the vehicle is making a noise that it wasn't making before. And you know that. You know more about your car than I. You know more about the car that you drive than your local repair shop, because you know what it does and what it shouldn't be doing. So if it's making some weird noise, now that's an easy way for you to share a problem with a technician and say, come to me. That's really interesting. We'll take a call from Daniel, but before I do, I want to share with you another way that you can determine whether or not you got a problem in your car, and that's smell. If you smell gasoline when you come out of your house to get in your car in the morning and you smell that strong, there's no odor quite like raw fuel, don't start that car. Look on the floor around under the car. Check the gas cap. Obviously, you're going to check the gas cap because you could have left it off and not know it, and you drove home and you got out. But when you come out the next morning and your garage smells like fuel, that's a fire hazard. So you want to look on the ground underneath the car to make sure there's no fuel there. And then on eyesight, of course, you can look for the cap. And so that's the smell and sight and hear. And then there's touch. And when I come back, I'll touch on another And we'll take another call, too. 888 Car Clinic. Your vehicle is equipped with sensors to monitor engine functions, airflow, engine knock, temperature. You probably never think about them, but if those sensors fail, your vehicle could need repair. Delphi mass airflow sensors are manufactured to OE specifications, delivering superior quality and performance. And Delphi's probe-only design reduces repair time by eliminating the need to replace the flow tube. When it comes time for repair, remember, high standards below the surface. And remember, Delphi. Learn more at delphi.com/am.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Bob, what's new? Last night I get in my truck, and in the back seat is one of those supermodels. Says she always wanted to meet a man who owned a sauerkraut factory. We're eating sauerkraut. She's wiping juice off my chin. I get heartburn. I pull out my Rolaids, and in under 10 seconds, it starts working. Then she's gone, and so's my heartburn. Rolade starts working in under 10 seconds? You expect me to believe that?
It's true. Rolade starts neutralizing acid in under 10 seconds. ROLAIDS spells relief. Use as directed.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Now, I'm not a financial wizard or anything, so when I needed a mortgage, I went to LendingTree. I filled out one simple form, banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. Maybe I am a wizard after all.
Visit LendingTree.com or call 1-800-555-TREE. That's 1-800-555-TREE. When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com. Equal housing opportunity. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
And now for the bonus round. If Rome wasn't built in a day, how long?
3 business days. Saturday.
Correct. A good man is hard to find. Why?
Because he's so small.
Correct. Netflix delivers movies by mail, and now what other way?
Directly to your TV.
Correct! Netflix now delivers movies 2 ways, instantly to your TV, plus DVDs by mail. Watch as many TV episodes and movies as you want for only $9 a month. Netflix! See terms of use.
Some original thinking by Starbucks barista Bob Glenn.
My idea of a Starbucks experience is the sense of community. I love people, and what working at Starbucks has allowed me to do is get involved in people's lives more directly. What I think is so great about Starbucks coffee being available in the grocery store now is that Starbucks selects the coffee, roasts the coffee, packages the coffee, and not just to enjoy it necessarily by yourself, but really to enjoy it with other people.
Your favorite Starbucks coffee. At grocery, at home, at last.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you so much for tuning in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic today. Just remember, every Saturday from 10 till noon, your favorite AM and or FM radio station, and also our global cast is at watchbobbylive.com. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Royal Purple, my choice for all synthetic oils and lubricants. For more information about my choice for lubricants and will add longevity to your automobile, go to royalpurpleconsumer.com. We'll go take a call. Daniel, welcome to Bobby. Thank you for holding.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
What I've got is a 2000 Chevrolet S10, and sometimes when I get in the cab, the STS light comes on that says brakes, and it says 2. But I can't find nothing wrong. I mean, sometimes I pull up on the emergency brake and it'll go off. Other times it'll just stay on, but I check my fluid and everything like that, and then next time I get in, and the radio will be off. It won't come on. So I don't know where to go with it.
Wait. Now you said that the radio would. You threw the radio in there. What's the radio got to do with the brake warning light?
I don't think I said radio, did I?
I thought you did. You're saying that the light would come on, that the SDS light?
Yeah.
Well, that
next time it won't come on. It'll just It don't seem to have no set pattern or nothing like that. Just, and like I said, I've checked the brake fluid and, you know, all that stuff on it. It's got like two. It's got a red light that says brakes and two above it, you know.
Well, Daniel, a quick question. Did you mention that if you apply the brakes or the parking brake that has an effect on the light?
Well, sometimes if I reach down and pull the parking brake release switch,
Right.
it'll go off.
Okay.
But it doesn't do it every time.
Well, that's what I figure that you've hit on something there. Two things that you are doing. Number one, you're releasing the brake to make sure that it's all the way back, and there's a micro switch that determines the position of the brake pedal of the park pedal. And so if that if the emergency brake, or it's not an emergency brake, it's a park brake. If that park brake is on or moved from its rest, which means it's all the way off, then the light's going to come on. The fact that you can affect that light by moving that, now, granted, you can't affect it all the time, leads me to believe that it is the parking micro switch, and that's the first thing that I would look for in your automobile. And I'll tell you what you can do to maybe test it. I don't know if you've driven the car today or not, but let's just say that the light is not on today, and you're still in your driveway, but the light's not on. If you depress the park brake or engage the park brake, I mean, not enough to really stop the car, but just enough to move the park brake handle, or does it have a pedal or does it have a pull handle?
It's a pedal.
Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to push the pedal to make the light come on, but don't be aggressive. Just move it ever so slightly and make that light come on. And then I want you to make that light go off. And I want you to do that several times so that you can make this light occur and also make this light go off. And by you testing it 3 or 4 different times without having to worry about driving and hitting bumps in the road and all those sorts of things, because see, you could have a wire, and just about the time that you release the brake, you hit a bump in the road, and it's really the bump that's causing the two connections that aren't making a good connection, make the light come on. So I'm trying to help you to diagnose the problem without driving the automobile. So if you make that light come on, which you can, and then you can make that light go off, then the next time that happens, you can ease over to the side of the road and then again. And if you cannot affect it, then you know that's where the potential of the problem would be. Regardless, someone's going to have to go in there and use a wiring diagram, because without a wiring diagram, you won't know where that switch is located, and you won't know which color wires to test or which circuits to test. So what we would do is, and we have wiring diagrams for every car that we work on. So the buzzword here would be for you that the number one, you do your own testing like we've talked about. You understand what I'm sharing with you?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. You do that, and hopefully you can, just by pulling over and exaggerating, moving that switch and moving it back, ultimately you can make that light go off. Then you've helped to pinpoint, and you've saved yourself time, because somebody else would have to get to that point, and that takes time to drive it and get to that point. And just as sure as you're shooting with your you know how vehicles are, it won't do for the mechanic in the shop what it does for you as you drive it. So that's
true.
Yeah, really.
One other quick question.
Sure.
I've got 2005 Ford Focus. You know, when you push the brake down, you push the lever on the side of your steering on the automatic transmission and pull it in gear.
Right.
It hangs up sometimes. You can't get it through. You got to push real hard on the brakes to get it to release.
Well,
is that an adjustment?
No, it's not adjustable. That solenoid is weak, and you can have that replaced. It's not inexpensive, and I would, if that's giving me any problem. Normally, that switch is sticky when it's cold weather, because it's a very light, which means it has no real strength, plunger. And it's just like if you push a doorbell. When you push the doorbell in, you've got like a starter solenoid that retracts a plunger, and it goes ding, and you let it go. There's a spring that makes it go back, ding dong. That's how doorbells ring. That's how starters work, and that's also how the pin goes is retracted from the park, because otherwise it's a deadbolt. A safety to have to depress the brake pedal is to remove the deadbolt that locks the park in position. Touch the brake pedal, an electrical signal through the brake light switch retracts that pin, and in cold weather sometimes that pin is sticky because it's not lubricated. It's just a little dry push pin is really what it boils down to, and it doesn't have a big healthy starter solenoid like we use on a starter to engage the gears. It has a little lightweight, like a of the same design, if so to speak. So that's here's what I would recommend for you, and for anyone that's not sure that that particular part of their car is working correctly. With the radio off and all the blower accessories off, turn the key to the on position, wait till any chimes go away, and put your hand on the gear shift, whether it's on the steering column or on the console, and just rest your palm on the gear shift, and you're still in park. Touch the brake pedal, let off the brake pedal. Do this several times, and every time you touch the brake pedal, you'll feel and hear this. Every time, because indeed, mechanical deadbolt that is being retracted from its position in the parking shift that allows you to get it out of park. And then once you go back in park, it's got a ramp, and it can ramp its way back in, because it's like putting a car on a lift. You got ramps to get it on, but you don't have ramps. You have to move the pin, which that's what the thing is. Anyway, that's a long explanation, but at least you now know that what you should do is listen for that little tick, tick, tick when you touch the brake pedal, and on those rare occasions where you can't pull it out of park, you won't hear that tick, and then you'll know that that solenoid is not working, or the circuit for that solenoid. Chances are it is the park.
Well, if you push real hard on the brake, it'll go ahead and release.
Well, that only tells. I doubt that.
You doubt that?
I doubt that. Yes, I challenge. I think, but I challenge that because it's an electrical. It's not pressure. It's an electrical switch that it's connected like a brake light switch, and you don't have to push hard to make the brakes. You can make the brake light come on, which cancels the cruise control without slowing the car down. It's way earlier than the length of and amount of length you have the pedal to apply the brakes. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was feeling that coke on it the other day. It didn't help it any.
Oh, now the truth comes out, and you know what? You would be shocked at how many electronic components that the manufacturers place underneath the console. Mercedes is the worst for placing a very expensive body control module under the coffee cup area. And you know what happens. Hey, thanks for your call, Daniel. Good luck. Let me know when you get to the other side of the problem. We'll take another call. Jim from Sebring. Jim, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, Bobby.
Hey, sir.
Okay, I'm not from Sebring. I'm driving to Sebring.
Oh, cool. What are you
Okay,
driving?
2010 Sebring. When I go to Kentucky, it's a flex fuel.
Okay.
And when I go to Kentucky, I get the E85, and my gas mileage goes from like 29 to 15.
15?
15 miles per gallon.
That's on the same roads, same conditions?
Oh, yeah. Pretty much just driving around town. And, I mean, it normally, even in city or interstate, I get about 29.5. When I use the flex fuel, it drops way off.
Well, I way off should be probably 10, 12, 15% for me would be way off, because
okay, well, this drops to 15 miles to get in the indicator in the car.
Well, that should be correct. That the indicator should be correct, and what I would do to validate the electronics is I would use the lollipop counters. I would use the road, and I would run 100 miles, and I would stop it and if it held 10 gallons, that's 10 miles per gallon. So that I would use a real liquid measurement, because you and I both know that E85. See, ethanol has fewer BTUs than gasoline. Ethanol has, in fact, about 76,000 BTUs per gallon. A gallon of gasoline has 113 BTUs. So you will get better gas mileage with gasoline. Here's the caveat: you won't get performance with gasoline unless you have octane, and it is the 10% or the 15% ethanol that gives it the octane that delivers the MPG. So with a flex fuel, you will get fewer miles per gallon, but not 50%. And of course the flex fuel, the E85, I don't know what's the price differential between gasoline and E85.
Varies 25 cents.
Well, here's what I would do, and this is a great. I'm glad you called. What I would do is I would do an MPD versus MPG, miles per dollar.
Right.
And then I would challenge the 15 miles per gallon, because 50% loss on a flex fuel, that doesn't make sense. I mean, and you're going by the electronics, so I would go by the real distance covered, and that's easy enough. It's just as easy for you. It's just a step you have to take, which we used to do that all the time. But for me, if I owned your car, I'd want to make darn sure, because you and I both know that to go from 29 to 15, that doesn't cut it. I mean, that's just that's that. So I would ask that you do the same thing, and then let's say that you ended up getting 24 miles per gallon versus 29 miles per gallon. Then you could look at the cost per mile, and at 25 cents per gallon less, you'd say, well, I did go less, but I paid this much less. The cost per mile per dollar was it should be within 5%. It really should.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'm going to be back up there in Kentucky in September.
Yeah, please do.
And I'll do all this, and I'll call you back.
You know what? I would really appreciate that, because I got on the ethanol bandwagon in the 60s. I used to race alcohol fuels, and we won. And the Indy cars use E85, and of course, granted that's racing engines, but you and I know that of course they used methanol for years, and then they went to 100% ethanol. Well, actually 98%, because they put 2% of gasoline for safety reasons, so that in case of a fire, because ethanol burns so clean and clear, there's no smoke. So they had to put, Indy had to put 2% gasoline to create smoke, just in case there was a fire in the pits. And
right, they had quite a bad fire back in the. Oh, you probably know the year. I don't know the year, but I remember that.
Yes, but I do remember that.
You couldn't see them burning. You could just see them running and being hot and
and being on fire. Unbelievable. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of safety assets, seat belts, and structural rigidities, and all of the things that we take for granted today that really originated from the racetrack. And of course, that. Well, listen, I would really appreciate next time you go up there, check and use the old-fashioned method of driving 100 miles and or 200 miles and refilling the tank, and then use the same. And then just to make sure, in the same terrain, switch back to the regular fuel. Run that tank all the way down, and at 15 miles per gallon, that won't take long. But you may be surprised. But run it all the way down, and then refill with regular gasoline, and see what happens, and then you'll have a better idea. Call. And with that, I appreciate you, and folks, I appreciate you. Another great hour of Bobby Likis coming up. I'm going to talk about gasoline. When we come back, I'm going to share the latest from Shell. Very interesting. See you on the other side.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Stent is the expert when it comes to radiator caps, thermostats, and fuel caps, supplying manufacturers as far back as Model A. You can trust that Stent fuel caps will deliver OE performance. A leaking fuel cap is more than just the pain of a check engine light. Evaporating fuel costs money. Stent fuel caps are built so well they can even seal with part of the cap broken away, helping to keep you safe. Stent also offers lock caps. Drive to Stent.com or your local retailer today. That's Stent.com.
They're out there. Gunk, corrosion, relentlessly preying on engines. But new Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline provides unbeatable protection from gunk and corrosion and superior protection against wear for the best total engine protection you can get. Stay ahead of engine threats with new Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline today.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
What's the most amazing thing that's happened in our age? The Berlin Wall coming down? No. Genome Project? Hardly. How about that little pill that's giving your grandfather the drive of a 14-year-old? Not even close. The most remarkable advancement made technology that allows you to effortlessly plan and book your own travel. It's Travelocity and allows you to beat the travel system. Their product, called Dream Maps, shows you every destination available to you for the amount of money you have. Calendar-based allows you to find that elusive low fare and tells you the date it's available. Travelocity puts more than 700 airlines, over 50 rental car companies, 5,000 vacation and cruise getaways, and in excess of 50,000 hotels at your fingertips. It allows you to go places you never knew existed, to discover places you absolutely would not have discovered before. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host.
And thank you so much. Welcome to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. We also have our 888 number, toll free. It's a little easier for you to remember than Marty gave. It's 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. We're going to come back. I see that George is in the queue. We're going to go to George right out of the chute after the break. I want to remind you this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by General Tire and the all-new Ultimax RT40, a smarter tire for a smarter driver. Visit generaltire.com for more details. And at the end of the first hour of today's broadcast, I mentioned gasoline, mainly because of the price of gas is still lower than it was same time last year. But I want to remind you that Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline is the best that I know of on the market. You can stay ahead of engine threats like the gunk and corrosion and wear with the new Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline, the best total engine protection you can get. You choose Shell V Plus Premium Gasoline the next time you fill your automobile. Why? I'll share with you some details when I come back from the break. I'll also take your calls at 888-227-2546. Miss Kim will put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. I'm ready to have some car fun. How about you? Like us? You'll love us when we come back.
They're out there. Gunk, corrosion, and wear relentlessly preying on engines. But new Shell Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline provides unbeatable protection from gunk and corrosion and superior protection against wear for the best total engine protection you can get. Stay ahead of engine threats with new Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline today.
You have places to go, people to see, and things to do 365 days a year. And there's one tire that will get you there, no matter the adventure. General Tire's new Altimax RT43. The all-season tire designed for a quiet, comfortable ride that includes industry-leading Smart View technologies. Let General Tire give you the reliability, performance, and traction you demand. For more information, visit GeneralTire.com. That's GeneralTire.com. The relationship with your vehicle is about trust. You trust in your car or truck to get you to work or play. So when your vehicle needs to be repaired, make sure you trust the parts your technician uses to get your vehicle going again. With over 100 years of OE expertise, Delphi has trust. Delphi supplies OE automotive technologies to the world's top 25 vehicle manufacturers. Delphi engine management expertise helps deliver improved emission control, fuel economy, and drivability. In fact, Delphi is the first and only OE manufacturer to create an all-makes replacement option for mass airflow sensors. Delphi offers mass airflow sensor replacement solutions for over 95% of vehicles on the road today, and Delphi's proprietary sensing elements provide highly accurate airflow readings to the control unit over a wide range of ambient temperatures. For over a century, Delphi has had a passion for making the parts that worldwide run better, longer, and more efficiently. Learn more at DelphiAutoparts.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Geico Auto Insurers are frugal people. They value $1, and they save a lot of them by switching. To prove my point, I'm joined by a real live customer, Erica Willis. Erica, will you give me $10,000?
No.
There. Proof that Geico customers do not like to part with any more money than they have to. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. You could keep 15% or more of your money. 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
Some original thinking by Starbucks barista Bob Glenn.
My idea of a Starbucks experience is the sense of community. I love people, and what working at Starbucks has allowed me to do is get involved in people's lives more directly. What I think is so great about Starbucks coffee being available in the grocery store, Starbucks selects the coffee, roasts the coffee, packages the coffee to enjoy it, and not just to enjoy it necessarily by yourself, but really to enjoy it with other people.
Your favorite Starbucks coffee. At grocery, at home, at lab.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with this hour. Miss Kim will take your call, and we did have several calls come in, but she had stepped away from her station, and she's back now at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. So if it rang, no worries. She will take your call at 888 Car Clinic. Let's go to New York and talk with George, and then I want to share information about Shell's new V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline, which is a breakthrough, really. It's really interesting, and we think that we know everything, or everything is just the best it can be, and that's not the case at all. Technology prevails and will prevail. George, thank you for holding your first up and your first on air. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thank you for taking my call. Actually, I was going to ask you about how I bought a new 2015 Camry. I got 4,000 miles on it. I was going to ask you about how often do I wash it or wax it, but you mentioned General Tire. And I just want to say something very, very interesting. The tread wear on my new car on the tire is 220. So I called the dealer, and I asked them, and the dealer told me that they're made to ride soft and wear out fast. So I'm wondering if you heard of anything like this.
Well,
and what do I do, to get, when these tires wear out at 20,000 miles, what should I replace them with?
Well, rotate. What brand tire is on the vehicle?
It's Rich.
Goodrich.
Yeah.
Well,
no, Bridgestone.
Bridgestone. Let me share this with you. It is the rating of the tire. For example, I have V-rated tires on my automobile, and the first set of tires that the factory set of tires lasted just under a few miles, under 24,000 miles. There was still more tread if not for some abnormal wear. So I had abnormal wear on the front tread, but I still had a little more than 3/32 tread. So from tread measuring, which the seconds, I should not have had to replace the tire, but I did replace the tire because I had a front end alignment problem that over a period of 6,000 or 7,000 miles, that last 6,000 or 7,000 miles, caused noise, and my tires were noisy. I air. The rear tires, on the other hand, it's a rear drive automobile, and I'm heavy-footed from time to time. Not that I did any burnouts because it has traction control, but nonetheless, just the propulsion of the car, and I like to feel that torque, had 3/32. So I had less wear on the front than I did on the rear. However, I had better wear on the rear because the front was out of alignment. And I'm a little, not embarrassed, but I'm a little bit put out at myself because I didn't align the vehicle. And my reasoning was in my care to take care of the car. I really didn't want to I want to make sure I didn't put any scratches on the wheels because an alignment machine has cleats between the bead of the tire and the wheel. Now, granted, it's like reaching on the inside of your lip. You the machine, but if you're anal like I am about some things in your car, you know that has to leave some kind of a mark. So rather than do that, I said, well, it drives really, really well. Well, I was wrong in doing that, so I won't let that happen again. It just proves that just when you think you know what you're doing, you learn. And that's what's great about the business is you learn every day. I learned the hard way. Here's the bottom line. With a V-rated tire, with a softer tire, you get better. You can be more aggressive, and the car can perform better under different circumstances, wet and there's a trade-off. The trade-off is premature. And you can buy tires that have like 80,000 mile or 60,000 mile rubber, and that really 60,000 would probably be about the best. I do know this. I have seen tires that had an initial wear the first 5,000 or 6,000 miles where I thought I'm going to lose this. These tires are not going to last 20,000, 15,000 miles, and then the rubber cured out, and the tire lasted twice as long as what I first believed. Now, having said all that, I owned a mini car that, and I forget what tire it came, Michelin's. It came with Michelin's. And those tires lasted, in all minis, 20,000 miles. And I talked with tire manufacturers when I was at SEMA. I talked with Cooper. I talked with General. I talked with Goodyear, Kumho. I went around Tire Row, and I talked to all the manufacturers. I said, well, and one of the gentlemen there lived in California, and he saw the name of the tire, Kumho, or one of those tires. He said, Bobby, I too drive a Mini. I get 20,000 miles. I live in California. And he said, I'm on the interstate going back and forth, but 20,000 miles is all you're going to get. Well, that wasn't good enough for me. So, George, I rotated those tires every 4,000 miles religiously. And I checked the tread depth and the tread wear, and I got 20% more wear out of my Mini tires at 24,000 miles. I replaced the tires because they were down to 2/32, which is the replacement wear bar indicator. I know that for a fact. Now, I could rotate. The car that I'm driving, you can't rotate because it has larger tires on the rear. So when you cannot rotate, you will have premature wear on the front or the back. Your Camry is a front drive vehicle, so your front tires will wear out. If your car, however, has the same size tire, then if you rotate, religiously every 5,000 miles. And here's the biggest challenge with that, not to belabor the rotation part, but because we don't change the oil in 3, 4, or 5,000 mile increments anymore, people are going 7 and 75,000, 100 miles. What happens to the 5,000? You're going to take your car and say, well, I don't need my oil changed, but go ahead and rotate my tires. People do not do that unless they are very particular about their automobiles, as I. So I would say to you, if you expect and want to get more tires than what the norm is out of your Camry, rotate the tires every 5,000 miles without fail. And not only rotate, but when you rotate, you ask the technician to give you the tread depth measurement of each tire. And here's why. And let's just take one tire. You measure the outside tread, the inside tread, and the center tread. That's 3 measurements. And then you take that measurement and you know if you're running too much air or not enough. Too much air will cause the center of the tire to wear prematurely. Too little air will cause both the outside and the inside tread to wear faster. So just think about it, pushing your belly out. You push your belly out, you poke it out with air. Well, it's the same thing about a tire. And then the more load you put on a car, the more pressure and pushes back in, so therefore the more you have to push that out. It's really about physics, and we're talking the difference between, in my Mini, I ran not what the car called for, not what BMW called for, but what I found to be best was 30 PSI on the rear. It's a little short car with nothing back there, and everything's up front, and I ran 36 PSI on the front. Now, granted, this car was driven more city than highway, but the bottom line, I got 20% more wear, and I got 24,000 miles, and everyone else is getting 20,000 miles. So that's a lot of information, but if you measure your wear on your new Toyota Camry, you will not only see the wear, but you will be able to adjust alignment, but tire pressure for front and rear. And I don't care what the manufacturer says, your individual driving habits and your roads that you drive on will dictate and determine the tread life of your vehicle with your monitoring. And that's what I like. I mentioned the General RT Max. It has that particular tire, and the General tires, what I really love about the General tire line is there's a premature wear indicator on the outside and the inside tread. So if you put 1,000 miles on a new tire, you don't know what the tread wear is normally, but with the RT Max 43 you do, because there's wear bars. And furthermore, on the center tread, George, of the RT 43 Max, the Ultimax General tire, there's a tire wear, and it says replacement tire monitor. And this is embossed, embedded in the center tread. And that embedding of each individual letter of this replacement tire monitor is at different depths. And it ultimately, when you get to 230 seconds, it all wears off and leaves the word replace tire. The replacement tire monitor wears down to replace tire. It really...
Would they have that tire in my size?
Absolutely. We just put a set of Ultimax RT43s on an 07 Toyota Camry. You may have heard me talk about that 6 or 8 weeks ago, or maybe 3 months ago. And those tires are fantastic. Check it out. Go to GeneralTire.com, and thank you so much for your call. What a great subject. I mean, tires. When I come back, I'll take your calls at 888 Car Clinic.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Many oil filters use cheap paper filtration that fails after only a few thousand miles. That's why Royal Purple developed its new extended life oil filter. Royal Purple uses unique microglass filtration that removes 99.9% of harmful contaminants and provides protection. Royal Purple filters are available online and by special order at Quality Auto Stores. Go to royalpurple.com for details. Purple, the performance oil and filters that outperform. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Some causes phase separation of gasoline and water in your tank, which can cause corrosion. But here's the fact. Zero ethanol or all hydrocarbon gasoline can suspend about 0.15 teaspoons of water before it separates. E10, gasoline with 10% ethanol, can suspend about 4 teaspoons. That's over 26 times more. And contrary to popular belief, it's difficult, if not nearly impossible, to absorb enough water from the atmosphere to induce phase separation. At 70 degrees Fahrenheit and 70% relative humidity, to saturate a gallon of all hydrocarbon gasoline would take several months and much longer for an E10 blend. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Live from Progressive. Flo here. Today we're talking to newlyweds.
Hi, my husband and I are combining our policies, and my mother-in-law says we can save with Progressive.
Well, with online, homeowners, and multi-car discounts, saving on car insurance is easy.
So you're saying she's...
I'm saying get used to it.
Get great savings and more at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Mayfield Village, Ohio. Discounts not available in all states. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Mikey steals the tissue. He breaks right. Now left. Clock says 3 a.m. He shoots the tissue and off the lamp and into the basket.
Cold symptoms keeping you from getting a good night's sleep? Get NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, so you can sleep better to feel better medicine. Use as directed.
Go to sleep.
Uh-oh, there's a heckler in the crowd.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. We'll go right to the phones and I'll ask you for your input. Kind of sort of having a debate here in-house and, about an article. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration unveiled a prototype car that would bar drunken driving. And there was a measurement device using infrared that has 2 different ways to measure the alcohol blood level, and one has to do with breath. Obviously, breathe into the car, and the car picks up just the driver's breath. And then the other had to do with the push-button start, where they use a mirror infrared tissue spectroscopy. And when you, that's a lot to say, but the bottom line is it's some unique way of measuring the blood alcohol content. So my question, and it was kind of a trivia question earlier on that I haven't heard any feedback on, but in the video that I saw, which this is an article that you can go online, and if you're a chemist, I need your help here because I'm in a dilemma. Is alcohol and ethanol the same thing? If I told you to go or offered you a shot of alcohol and I offered you a shot of ethanol, which one would you drink? And that's a valid question, Kevin. That's a valid question, is it not?
I think so.
Well, and so in this video of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's concept, and I say concept, they're working on this since 2008, about adding this feature as an option by pay for to your new car that would not allow you to drink if you 8.08 blood alcohol level. Now, in a teen driver, there would be zero tolerance, so it would be zero. So I have just a couple of questions about that, and we'll go to Mike in North Carolina and maybe he'll have some input. But I know he has a car question. So and I'll take your questions, Miss Kim will, at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. Mike, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to talk to you after all these years.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. What took you so long to call?
I'm a pretty good mechanic myself. I'm not up with the new technology, but
new
I have a
technology,
97 Toyota Camry.
Okay.
Second owner, and my sister was the first owner.
Okay.
And it's been taken care of religiously. Burns no oil, has 205,000 on it. The transmission fluid has been changed once. And I'm assuming it needs it again, and I'm a little afraid because in the past I have changed transmission fluid in used cars and lost transmission.
Well, in the past, I would agree with you because the polymers and it's the difference in the materials that are used that are adding so much life to the components of the car. If you'll think back, and it hasn't been, it's been years, but a small block Chevrolet with 50,000 miles on it, historically, had to have the heads removed and new valve guides put in because that was it. 50,000 miles, and and in our trade journals and auto, we used to see from Molly and from Bosch and from all the parts manufacturers, new pistons and new rods and new bearings at 75,000 to 100,000 miles. And I recently had a Toyota engine apart for another reason that had 100,000 miles on the engine, and I was shocked, literally, at how beautiful the inside of that engine was. And granted, it was one of our customers, and it has royal purple oil, and so I would tout it that it had royal purple, but it wasn't born with royal purple. So, and I don't know how many miles it had on it before, so its early miles, which is that initial wear in, it had some TLC from the owner. Anyway, I said all that to say that the materials, the tolerances are so finely adhered to today that engines last a lot longer, because historically it's like an old house with the windows, and every time the thunder shakes, the windows rattle, and every time it blows, you get air that comes in because the house is not sealed. And then for us, those of you live in North Carolina, but for us, those of us who live in an Ivan world, which is a hurricane, if you lost a home in 2004 during Ivan, you don't build that home back to prior specifications. You got to, they're offering some, there's a company that I heard recently, and I wish I could think of the name of it, but it's a building company in Mobile, Alabama, that's touting 140 mile per hour wind performance. That's unbelievable to build a structure that can withstand 140 miles per hour winds. So I said all that to say that the seals in your 97 Toyota, if they don't absolutely, DTE 1? That's really strange. Do you hear that?
Yes.
So, Mike, you still with me?
Yes, sir.
That is really strange. Okay. Are you, Mike? Did you in my ears? I heard. That is wild. Well, I know what's going on there. Something's going on in New York.
Yeah.
Well, this never happened before in 24 years. So, yeah, that's really strange. That's an accident. There's something coming on that shouldn't come in. But anyway, Mike, you still with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, did you hear what I heard?
I did, and I agree with you. It's really strange.
Well, see, we actually transfer our signal to Westwood One, and they put it on satellite. So obviously, in New York, they mix two programs. Well, that's very interesting. Well, it's live radio, and things happen, and they just did. But that's way cool. Let me hear from you at 888 Car Clinic. We'll talk about that. But Mike, getting back to your question, if I own that car, you have two choices: change the fluid, or wait till it breaks and change the transmission. You're not going to damage the transmission, nor will you cause a leak by putting fresh fluid in. And you know, as I know, that fluid just doesn't last. And recently we actually had a Toyota customer who was talking about the dealer telling her never to change the fluid, that it had lifetime fluid in it, and there's no such thing as lifetime fluid. And I mean, it just isn't, because oil wears out, and oil thickens up, and debris and wear particles from the transmission. So if I were you've got 200, and I mean, this vehicle didn't, and you said it to start with, has 200,000+ miles on it. You didn't get to 200,000 miles with no problems by not maintaining the fluids and the tires and the wiper blades and all of the things that are part of owning a car. Would you agree?
I would agree.
Well, you got it.
You have confirmed my hypothesis.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad to confirm it, because I practice it, and our service shop has been in business for 44 years, and we've had more than 200,000 cars through our doors. So I've seen I don't know of any automobile problem, breakdown or otherwise, electronic or physical, that I haven't seen. And so when you're in the trenches every day, now that doesn't mean you know everything, but but by being and by having a team like I have, I get to learn, with 17 members, I have a 700% exposure versus myself. So I learn what I learn from what I do. I learn what they learn from what they do, because we're all a family and we all share. And only that's how you're successful in automotive service, because I can tell you there's no one person in any one shop that knows it all. And to that end, if you go to a doctor, you go to a heart specialist, or to an ENT, or ear, nose, and throat specialist, or to a brain surgeon. And they're different. Well, in the automobile, you gotta, from bumper to bumper, you gotta know it all, and there's just no one that knows it all. So what we do, and I'm sure what you do, Mike, it's the same thing. If you don't know something, you look up the specifications and you learn. In the case, you call me and we talked about it. So I think that's pretty cool.
I think it's absolutely cool.
Hey, I sure thank you. And
I've been listening to you for years, and first time I've ever talked to you, like I say, it's a real pleasure.
Well, it's my pleasure. I sure thank you so much. Where do you live in North Carolina?
Boone, North Carolina, up in the mountains.
Yeah, there's a from Boone recently, from a lady who is a doctor of music. And I sent her information, and she called about, she had a couple of drums. Her husband had passed and left a couple of drums of Freon, which is the refrigerant. And
I remember hearing that on the radio.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was listening that day.
Nicest lady in the world. So I sent her information, and there's a car show coming up in June or July. I think it's June, right there in Boone. And I suggested that she go to that classic car show, because there are going to be a lot of folks there who need Freon for their automobile. I went on eBay, by the way, and a 30-pound drum of Freon had a bid of $453, as I remember. The last time I bought Freon, years ago, when it was legal to install in cars, I paid $900 for 30 pounds. I paid $900. It was unbelievable. I mean, there's one way to force a product out of the market. You just price it way over the top, and sure enough, not only will shop owners not buy it, but their customers won't buy it as well. And so I'm sure that she's going to have an opportunity to sell have that car show. And I wish I could think of the name of the car show, but it's coming up there in Boone, North Carolina. Sure was nice to talk with you, and thank you so much for your call.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time.
Well, there you have it. How interesting was that? So, Kevin, you got that baffled look on your, that is really, really interesting, was it not?
Yeah, it was. We'll see what's going on with that during the commercial break. We'll talk.
Okay, well, no problem there. Hey, folks, when I come back from the commercial break, I want to share with you some information about the new Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. It's a breakthrough. I meant to do it this segment, but we talked about other things like your car questions at 888 Car Clinic when I come back. Whether supplier or a brake professional, be sure your brake job is complete by replacing all the brake hardware with Carlson quality brake hardware. Why? A brake job is more than simply replacing shoes and pads. Fact is, when you also replace springs, clips, and other hardware parts that hold all brake components in place, your brakes will perform better and last longer. It's a small investment to ensure your brake job is complete and done right. Best, invest in Carlson quality brake hardware kits with every brake job. Stant is the expert when it comes to radiator caps, thermostats, and fuel caps, supplying manufacturers as far back as Henry Ford's Model A. For OE performance, you can trust that Stant radiator caps will deliver. Radiator caps do more than just keep coolant in. Control pressures to stop boiling and promote proper coolant circulation. Remember to change your cap when you change coolant and insist that that cap is a Stant. For instant quality, drive to Stant.com or your local retailer today. That's Stant.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis.
Another great place to use Visa.
Is there anything more satisfying than watching a snowflake fall, gently carried by a delicate breeze to the welcoming earth, and then thrashing it on a ripping snowmobile? If you want to have fun in the snow, make tracks to Unicorn Expeditions in Lake Parlin. Cabins are as cozy as the trails are smooth. But if you want to better bring your Visa card, because at Unicorn Expeditions they take kindly to sled heads, but they don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
So, how about you and I getting together?
I don't know. I have to get up early.
Ma, I'm on the phone!
Oh, sorry, dear.
You live at home?
Looking for a home? Click on to Realtor.com and search over 1.3 million current home listings. Plus, you can find useful information on schools, financing, even take virtual tours. And when you're ready, you can click and connect with a Realtor.
Hello? Are you still there?
Yes, dear, I'm right here.
Realtor.com. It's the place to start when you start looking for a home.
Hello once again, and welcome to How Stupid Can You Be? The show is all about the outrageously stupid things they've done. Please join me in welcoming today's guest, Sarah. You're 23 years old. Did something really stupid, didn't you?
Yes, I bought alcohol for my younger brother and his
Wow, she bought alcohol for minors. That's one of the stupidest things anyone could ever do. Am I right, audience?
Of course I got caught, arrested, charged with a felony, and I could get up to 6 months in jail.
Buy alcohol for minors and all you got was trouble. That's all for now, folks. Coming up next, a man who performed his own root canal at home. How stupid is that?
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. Underage drinking. It's arresting behavior.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis. This has really been an interesting program, and if you just tuned in, we had an amazing, like a breakthrough from, I didn't know if it was an emergency channel broadcast. In fact, that's what I thought that it was, really. Anyway, I'll take your calls. Kim will take your calls at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546, and put you in the queue, and then you and I can share car stories or car challenges or just gasoline or fuel. And speaking of gasoline, I mentioned this, so now I want to follow through. As I promised, the new Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline is really a breakthrough in premium gasoline. It has a new innovative additive package that has been patented. The technology has been patented, which protects against not one, but three of the main types of engine performance threats, which are gunk, corrosion, and it offers superior protection against wear for the best total engine protection that you can possibly get. It's proven in industry standard tests, folks, and it's the premium fuel, get this, recommended by BMW M Series. No doubt the BMW engineers are very specific about their engines. So next time you fill up your tank, choose a breakthrough in the premium gasoline category. Choose Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline for your automobile. And I invite you to call 888-227-2546. Speaking of gasoline, the prices are down from same time last year in all regions of the country, and the average price is $2.78 a gallon for regular gasoline prices, to include all local and federal taxes. However, if you look at the gas price today of same time last week, with the exception of three regions of the country, which are, well, actually two, West Coast and West Coast, California, and the Gulf Coast, gasoline prices are higher than they were same time last week. So this is a trend, and it's starting to go back up now. Gasoline prices starting to go back. Well, so I guess we should all go out and fill our tanks today. Best deal you're going to get, right? Right. And I've got the best deal for you at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. David from North Carolina, I want to welcome you to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning, Bobby. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for calling.
I think I had an answer for the trivia question about the video of the car shut off.
Well, that's great because now I'm questioned about that. Miss Kim has done some research, and Kevin and I have talked about this. And folks, to bring you up to date, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has unveiled a prototype car. It's prototype, so it's not yet on the market, to bar drunken driving. And this prototype uses, and they're working with the big three. And it uses a breath analyzer, and it uses a touch analyzer. And the breath analyzer, the driver exhales, and it only picks up the driver's breath. It measures carbon dioxide and the alcohol molecules and determines if that is 0.08 or higher. If so, then the car won't start. And having said that, on the push button, which is a touch, it checks the blood level using a mirror infrared tissue spectroscopy, and basically measuring the alcohol content in the body. And David, you went to the video and watched the video. What was it in the video that you and I think is wrong?
Well, it said when you do the touch monitor, it indicates alcohol.
Right.
On the screen, the script in the video, it says ethanol.
That's right. And also on the breathalyzer, which is earlier in that same video, when they talk alcohol, it also in print on the video says ethanol. Now, it is when I offer you a drink of alcohol or a drink of ethanol, which would you drink? Well, obviously that's a loaded question, because to me, of course, ethanol is ethyl alcohol, but ethanol as a brand of liquid is poisoned ethyl alcohol because it has gasoline in it, and before any ethanol can leave an ethanol plant and it comes out 200% straight grain alcohol, ethyl alcohol, we know that. I've been to the plant, and actually they run ethanol through a molecular sieve that removes all of the water, if there's any water in the process, which there is, because there's a slurry, and I won't go through the process of how they make it, but the bottom line, it's 200 proof or 100% ethyl alcohol, and before they can put it in the rail car to ship it, they have to poison it with gasoline because it would be drinkable. So therefore, and you're right, I'm going to send you the prize, but I want your input because Ms. Kim went online and looked at Wikipedia and WebMD, and it says, and I'm reading it right here, ethanol, also commonly called ethyl alcohol, drinking alcohol, or simply alcohol, is a principal type of alcohol found in alcoholic beverages produced by the fermentation of sugars by yeast. So when I saw, and Jim had called in earlier and brought this to my attention, actually before the show he brought it to my attention, about the article that in the Detroit News and this video that you watched. So to me, and I ask you the question, do you think the ethanol should be there, or it should have said alcohol?
Well, I guess it is interchangeable, but if an alcoholic thought that he could get drunk by drinking ethanol from the gas pump, I mean, he would die. So that's where I would think that you really want to know the difference before you actually drink it.
Yeah, and I think that it was a mistake. See, for me, and it might just be a play on words here, because granted, ethanol is ethyl alcohol that's been poisoned with gasoline. But if I'm producing a video that is talking about out from drinking too much alcohol, whether it's beer or wine or whatever, and then in my video it shows using a spectroscopy and or breath that shows ethanol in the diagram, that would be confusing, because ethanol is a brand that we all know is ethyl alcohol that is made to be burned in your automobile. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So other input, and maybe we have a chemist out there, and I know that ethyl alcohol is 200 proof alcohol. It's not that. And Kim and I have talked about this. And Kevin, turn the control room mic up.
Yep.
And Miss Kim, you talked about. She's on the phone.
Yeah,
right now.
she's on the phone with the caller right now.
All right. Never mind.
All right.
All right. Hey, David, I'm going to put you, Kevin. Make sure that you put David back on hold. David, I'm going to put you back on hold so we can get your address and information. And I'm going to send you a prize pack, because you're dead right on. What did you think of technology, by the way, before I put you on hold?
I think that it's already here in North Carolina. A friend of mine's daughter got a drunk, DWI charge, and before she could get her license back, she had to have an interlock system installed in her car that would do a breathalyzer before the car would. When a certain length of time, it was removed.
Yes, so that technology's there, and under certain DUI circumstances, we know that happens. But this is an option that's going to be offered for people who buy a new car, and I guess the reason it's going to be an option is because of the privacy issue, and because if you're out for a dinner, and there are just think of the hundreds of charitable events that offer wine, and you've got 300 people at a party, and you've had one glass of wine or maybe 3 glasses of wine, how many cars wouldn't start in the parking lot? And those people wouldn't be drunk, but they might be 0.04 or 0.05. I don't really know. I've never blown into a breathalyzer, but it's a very interesting. It just shows you that technology and the direction that we're going from a safety regard. So I think it's pretty cool myself. Hey, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We'll put you back on hold. Okay, thank you very much. We'll take Jim with the 93 Cadillac. Jim, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Bobby. Listen to your show every week. Very cool. Got a 93 Cadillac, my wife does. I bought it brand new. Bought it actually for retirement, and actually worked out that way, but I've got a little problem with it. She come home the other day, and I thought she left the interior lights on an hour or two after she came home. Well, just make a long story short, it came on by themselves. Well, I finally got them to go off and never thought anything more of it until 2 days later when I was sitting in the garage and I heard click, 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 click underneath the dash. Traced it under the dash, but put the key in, turned the key on. The noise stopped, and I realized then that the battery actually was dead. It wouldn't do anything at that point. Put the battery charger on it, And immediately the underhood light came on because that is actuated by the door handle, I found out. But long story short, the interior lights came on, and there is a delay system in it that supposedly after 10 minutes it's supposed to shut off, and it did do that.
Right.
But probably half an hour later, they came on all by themselves again. So I finally pulled the fuse out of the thing, but they seem to be coming on all by themselves and running the battery dead.
Okay, here's what I believe. One of the door jamb switches, and of course this is a 93 model automobile, so the door jamb switch, and when I say door jamb switch, if you may remember, in older automobiles, there was a simple switch that provided a ground, because all of the interior lights are on all the time, and and of course you have to be grounded. So when you opened a door, any of the 4 doors, that switch would ground that circuit and the lights would come on. Well, that switch, if you have a bad switch, and I suspect that you do, that you can either have a bad switch, which is really simple to replace, that would be in the door jamb, but on later model automobiles, that switch is located in the door latch itself. And,
okay, because I can't find you said, I can't find the button.
All right, it's in the door latch itself. Now, here's your challenge. Which one of those door latches is causing the false light to come on? And it's going to be difficult for you to locate, and here's why. If you open the door and close it, then it delay and the lights go off. Well, I don't know. Is it 10? You said 10 minutes, but is it 10 minutes?
Well, I don't know.
No, okay, yeah, no, it's not. Let's just say it's 2 minutes. So here's what I would do if I were you. You want to, of course, make sure the battery is fully charged, because no electrical system will work correctly with the lower battery current. So that's a given. And then you want to catch it. You'll put the fuse back in, and what you can do, and the battery's up to par now, put the fuse back in, close the door, and you know the light's going to be on for a given length of time, which I'm going to say is 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, max, maybe even less. So wait off, and then
wait a minute.
Beg pardon?
Go ahead, Bobby.
Okay, when it go, and so now that the lights are off, and you assume it could be okay, no better than that, because its history has proven that there's a problem there. So how do you find out which it is? When the light goes off, open the driver's door and close the driver's door again, making sure that the battery is still up to par. And this means you got to make several trips out in the garage, but that's okay. This is your mission. So you open the driver's door. What you've done is you've triggered that switch again if that switch is bad, and it's probably the most prone switch to go bad because it has the most use of all the other doors. And wait another 2 minutes, and if the lights go out, you can confirm this a couple of times. This will not prove that switch is bad. It will only lead us in the direction when you go to a service shop that you think that switch is bad in that circuit, and that switch can be tested to see how sensitive it is. Do you understand where I'm going?
Yeah, the whole door panel is going to have to come off.
Yeah. Eventually, but you don't want to pull all the door panels off to see which you want to catch.
You know, it's funny because the only door I've been using is that driver's door.
Yeah, that's my point. Point. So
I mean,
but that doesn't mean that one of the other doors switch is not overly sensitive or wearing out or worn out or got a bad connection. But what you're going to do is you're going to play with that operation of that one door several times, and then you're going to see if that proves anything or not.
So run that by me, the last part of that one more time. When the lights go out.
Well, when the lights go out, you just walk away and let it be, and you come back in 30 minutes and see if the lights come back on. And when they do, and they surely will, because you run your battery down, but the light will be on long before the battery goes down. Now that we got a battery up to par, so you'll open the door and only the driver's door and close it and watch the light go out, and then you'll wait again. And if you can influence that by shutting the door firmly, that light coming back on, then more than likely that's the bad switch. It still has to be tested, but that's the best I can do for you given the type of problem that is. Electrical's tough, especially one that's erratic.
Click. You pulls under the dash was just because the
that's low voltage.
battery was so low.
Oh, yeah, that's low voltage. You got to disregard that. Funny things happen with low voltage, just like a starter. You know, a battery that will make the horn work and the radio work, you go to hit the starter, go, that's a lot of current flow. I'm out of time. Thank you so much, Jim. Always great to hear from North Carolina. Mark, I'm sorry. I'll take your call earlier next week, and yours, folks, at 888 Car Clinic. 888-227-2546. I'm Bobby Likis. Likis, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Today's new product spotlight is on Cardone Ultra Premium calipers. Over 70% of all vehicles released since 2002 feature premium wheels. While stylish, these premium wheels increase brake caliper visibility, and rusty calipers detract from the premium look. Cardone Ultra Premium calipers feature an exclusive weatherproof silver coating that protects against rust and corrosion. In a side-by-side comparison, set in a humidity chamber simulating a year of average driving, competitors' calipers developed significant rust after 100 hours, but Cardone Ultra Premium calipers still look new. Installation's easy, and Cardone Ultra Premium calipers are packaged with all necessary hardware. Now, through November 30, every Cardone Ultra Premium caliper you purchase gives you a chance to win a Ford Mustang GT, and monthly winners will also be chosen to win a $250 Visa gift card. Register and report each product code at CardoneUltra.com. That's CardoneUltra.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another great place to use Visa.
They giggle and jiggle, they jump and they sing, they poke and they play with most wondrous things. And that's just the parents. At Creative Kid Stuff in Minneapolis, you'll find the most enchanting toys and games for kids of all ages. But if you want to bring home their innovative playthings, you better bring your Visa card. Because at Creative Kid Stuff, you can let your child's imagination run wild, but you can't use American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning. Your name is Folgers Mountain Grown.